Blake, what's it like dating Miranda Lambert, and which one of you wears the pants in the relationship?
Wait, did Blake Shelton really just confirm what fans have been speculating for years? After months of silence and swirling headlines, he's finally breaking his own rule and speaking out. But what he reveals about his relationship, his fears, and the truth behind the rumors will leave you stunned. From secret confessions to a marriage no one saw coming, this story takes a turn you won't expect. Stick around, because what you're about to hear changes everything. Blake Shelton's voice may echo across country radio stations, but lately, it's his personal life making the loudest noise. The man whose music touches millions now finds himself in the center of a storm. And it's not about a new album. Rumors have started to swirl, casting shadows over his marriage to Gwen Stefani. Could his third marriage be headed the same direction as his first two? The buzz has reached a fever pitch, and fans have been holding their breath, waiting for answers. And finally, the couple has spoken out, but what they said left just as many questions as answers. Blake's story didn't begin in the limelight. Born on June 18, 1976 in Ada, Oklahoma, Blake Shelton was raised in a house where music wasn't just background noise, it was part of the fabric of life. Encouraged by his family, especially an uncle who taught him to play guitar at 12, young Blake seemed destined to make music more than a hobby. But just as his talent was beginning to shine, his world was rocked by the devastating loss of his older brother Richie, who died in a tragic car accident. It was a blow that left deep emotional scars. But Blake, carrying his brother's memory, pushed forward. After finishing high school, he took a leap, moving to Nashville to chase what seemed like an impossible dream. In 1997, he landed a contract with Sony Music, a major milestone, but it didn't guarantee an easy road. When he finally got a deal to release his first single in 2001 under Giant Records, the label rejected the very song he had pinned his hopes on. That same song, handed to another singer, rocketed to #1. And just when it seemed things couldn't get more complicated, Giant Records shut down the moment Shelton's debut single was released. That should have ended his run, but it didn't. In a twist of fate, he was moved to Warner Brothers. And from there, everything changed. His debut single, Austin, became a breakout success, topping the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart and launching Blake into national stardom. His self-titled debut album quickly followed and divided critics. Some praised his sound, others weren't sold. But the audience was. Blake's momentum didn't slow down. His second album, The Dreamer, arrived in 2003, bringing with it the chart-topping single, The Baby. Though the album's other tracks didn't replicate its success, it still earned gold certification, proof that Blake had staying power. That same year, Blake took a big step in his personal life, marrying longtime girlfriend Kaynette Gurn. The union seemed promising, but behind the curtain, things weren't so picture-perfect. As his fame climbed, the pressures began to mount. His third album, Blake Shelton's Barn and Grill, dropped in 2004 and gave fans another #1 hit with Some Beach, alongside a heartfelt cover of Conway Twitty's Goodbye Time. The album hit platinum. Blake was officially a country music powerhouse, making frequent appearances on television and selling out shows nationwide. But success on stage couldn't fix what was happening at home. By 2006, Blake and Kaynette were divorced. The breakup was a turning point, and whispers soon started connecting the dots. Not long before the divorce, Shelton had met fellow country star Miranda Lambert at a major country duet concert. Fans quickly speculated, was there more to this professional pairing than just music? Their duet, Home, a cover of a Michael Bublé song, soared to #1, and before long, Blake and Miranda confirmed they were dating. Blake's personal life may have been turbulent, but his career never lost steam. In 2007, he dropped Pure BS, which featured hits like Don't Make Me and The More I Drink, both landing comfortably in the top 20. As his songs climbed the charts, so did his status in the industry. He collaborated with stars like Trace Adkins on the wildly popular Hillbilly Bone, a track that headlined his 2010 EP of the same name and reaffirmed Blake's star power. That same year, he proposed to Miranda Lambert, and in 2011 they tied the knot in a ceremony fans thought marked a new chapter of peace for the singer. But just as he settled into married life, Blake was handed a new opportunity that would redefine him. In 2011, he joined NBC's The Voice as a coach. not just performing music, but mentoring the next wave of artists. Far from fading into the background, he was front and center, showcasing not only his voice, but his charm and wit. Around the same time, he released Red River Blue, and its lead single, Honeybee, exploded. The track became the fastest-selling country song by a male artist and secured yet another #1 spot. The album also spawned other top hits like God Gave Me You and Drink on It, proving Blake was on an unstoppable roll. But life wasn't done testing him. Just as he was celebrating one of the biggest years of his career, he suffered a heartbreaking personal loss, the passing of his father, after a prolonged illness. Once again, Blake found himself at a crossroads, mourning in private while performing in public. The resilience he showed in those moments shaped not just the music he made, but the man he became. Still, beneath the spotlight and accolades, the same question lingers. Is history repeating itself? With Gwen Stefani now by his side, the rumors that began as whispers are now headlines. Has Blake found lasting happiness? Or is another chapter about to close? Their voices carried the weight of heartbreak when they sang Over You, a deeply personal ballad that pierced right through to the soul. The emotions were so raw, so genuine, that the song didn't just resonate with fans, it swept the CMA Awards, earning Song of the Year in 2012. And that wasn't the end of its impact. The following year, the track clinched Record and Song of the Year at the Academy of Country Music Awards. For a brief moment, music became their language of grief, of healing, of unity. And yet, time has a way of eroding even the most poetic partnerships. They would share the Super Bowl stage in 2012, radiating chemistry as they performed side by side. But just 3 years later, the news broke like a thunderclap. Blake Shelton and Miranda Lambert had parted ways. What could have fractured a bond that seemed so deeply intertwined with art and memory? In a heartfelt joint statement, they gently pulled back the curtain on their private pain, saying this was never the future they pictured, and asked for grace as they navigated separate paths. We're real people, they reminded the world, trying to protect the parts of themselves not meant for public consumption. But in the glare of the spotlight, privacy is a fleeting luxury. Not long after, Shelton found himself in the crosshairs of a different storm. Tweets from years earlier, long buried, suddenly resurfaced, and they didn't sit well with many. Some communities felt hurt and alienated, sparking a wave of criticism. With the backlash mounting, Shelton issued a public apology. He didn't shy away from accountability, acknowledging that while his humor could miss the mark, hate had never lived in his heart. It was a vulnerable moment that revealed just how fine the line is between public persona and personal missteps. Even as he weathered the controversy, the competitive fire in him never dimmed. When his string of chart toppers briefly stalled, some wondered if the golden streak was over. But this was Blake Shelton, a man who turned heartbreak into an anthem and personal turmoil into platinum records. He rebounded swiftly, reclaiming his position among country's elite, proving that setbacks, even loud, public ones, don't have to define the legacy. They can sharpen it. By mid-2016, that legacy was being etched in bronze. The Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum unveiled a special exhibit titled Blake Shelton, based on a true story, chronicling his path from a small-town Oklahoma dreamer to a Nashville giant. The display didn't just honor his music, it celebrated his voice as a mentor, a judge, a cultural force. His role on The Voice had become more than just a gig, it was a defining chapter. That same year, something magical happened. An all-star collaboration called Forever Country brought together 30 iconic artists to mark the CMA Awards' 50th anniversary. Blake's voice wove through a tapestry of legends, and when the single debuted, it didn't just make waves, it exploded to #1 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart. If there were any doubts left about his place in history, they vanished with that harmony. Back on The Voice, Blake continued to thrive. In season 11, his contestant Sundance Head took the crown, further cementing Shelton's reputation as the coach who could spot and shape undeniable talent. Soon after, a wax figure of Blake was installed in Nashville's Madame Tussauds, forever immortalizing the singer with the sly grin and cowboy charm. The state of Oklahoma even named him a creativity ambassador, a nod to the roots he never forgot. Season 13 brought another win, Chloe Kohansky rose to the top under Shelton's guidance. But even as he celebrated victory after victory, Blake was quietly reconnecting with something far more personal: his music. His 11th studio album, Texoma Shore, arrived in late 2017, led by the catchy single I'll Name the Dogs. Fans embraced the familiar warmth of his sound, and the follow-up track I Lived It reminded them of who Blake truly was. Just a guy from Ada, Oklahoma, telling stories through song. Despite all the accolades, he still felt something was missing. Then came Gwen Stefani. They met on The Voice, and what began as casual camaraderie evolved into something deeply healing. "She saved my life," Blake would later say, not with fanfare, but with quiet sincerity. Both were emerging from the ashes of high-profile heartbreaks. "You can't imagine how similar our divorces were," he shared. Suddenly, they weren't just singing partners or television judges. They were soulmates navigating a second chance at love. But who is Gwen Stefani beyond the headlines? Born in Fullerton, California on October 3, 1969, she grew up surrounded by music and ambition. Her father, Dennis, worked for Yamaha, and her mom, Patty, left accounting to raise their family. It was her older brother, Eric, who gave Gwen her first glimpse into the world that would define her: ska music, punk energy, and fearless expression. In 1986, he asked her to join his band, No Doubt. The early years weren't easy. Their 1992 debut barely made a ripple, but they kept pushing. And by 1995, everything changed. Their third album introduced the world to Don't Speak, a song so emotionally raw, it dominated the charts and never let go. It became an anthem for every broken heart, every love that faded without warning. As fame embraced Gwen, she began branching out, collaborating with artists like Eve and Moby. But not all musical experiments were met with cheers. Albums like Return of Saturn and Rocksteady struggled as fans wrestled with her evolving sound. Still, Gwen poured herself into the music. Her lyrics were confessions, reflections of insecurity, heartbreak, and resilience. Her personal life was just as eventful. She dated and later broke up with her bandmate Tony Kanal, a split that nearly shattered No Doubt from the inside. Heartache turned into songwriting fuel. Later, she married Gavin Rossdale in 2002, and together they had 3 sons. But by 2015, Gwen filed for divorce. And while the tabloids feasted, Gwen stayed focused on healing and on rediscovering her voice, both as an artist and as a woman. That same year, the unexpected happened. 2 wounded hearts, hers and Blake's, found a rhythm together that no one saw coming. And suddenly, love wasn't just something they sang about. It was something they could believe in again. The path Gwen Stefani walked to find peace was anything but predictable. In the whirlwind of 2016, her previous marriage legally came to an end, closing a turbulent chapter. But rather than let heartbreak define her, she redirected her energy into her music, using her pain as fuel. Songs like Baby Don't Lie and Spark the Fire became battle cries for her comeback. Then came a surprise collaboration, Eminem's Kings Never Die. A bold reminder that Gwen wasn't retreating, she was rising. But it was Used to Love You, the haunting track inspired by her breakup that stunned fans. Her raw vulnerability poured into her third studio album, This Is What the Truth Feels Like, which stormed straight to #1 on the Billboard 200. Gwen was no longer just a pop icon. She had become a storyteller of resilience. By the time she hit the road with rapper Eve, her evolution was complete. But Gwen wasn't done reinventing. In a twist no one saw coming, she lent her voice to a character in Trolls, a playful escape into animation. Yet music remained her heartbeat. She surprised everyone again when she appeared in The Defiant Ones, signaling she was far from finished and hinting at more new music. Then, she dropped You Make It Feel Like Christmas, a holiday album that captured a gentler side of her artistry. Just when fans thought they'd seen every version of Gwen, she returned to The Voice, not as a contestant, but as a powerhouse coach. It was on The Voice that something deeper began to bloom, her bond with Blake Shelton. Their chemistry spilled from the stage into real life, and their first duet, Go Ahead and Break My Heart, was both an artistic risk and a personal confession. The emotional undercurrent of their partnership only grew stronger, with Nobody But You, a chart-topping anthem that felt like a vow to one another. And during the stillness of the pandemic, they gifted fans with Happy Anywhere, a love song wrapped in hope. That track hit different. It felt like a window into their private world, one shaped by quiet commitment amid global chaos. But the headlines never rested. Whispers of trouble in paradise kept surfacing, threatening the image of harmony they had built. Then, Gwen did what she rarely does. She spoke out. With a calm that surprised even longtime fans, she dismantled the rumors piece by piece. "You can say whatever you want about us," she said, "but we know the truth." Her voice didn't tremble. If anything, it cracked open a new chapter of honesty. She described moments of insecurity, the kind that sneak in even when everything's going right. "Am I still cute? Am I getting older?" she asked aloud, not just to herself, but to the millions of fans who've watched her for decades. Those doubts? They weren't just Gwen's, they were ours too. She admitted these insecurities created imaginary walls between her and Shelton. Even knowing the strength of their love, she found herself overthinking, spinning false narratives in her mind. Her confession was startlingly relatable. Blake, in return, opened up too. He shared how they really talk, about the fear of losing relevance, about the changes time brings. But instead of letting fear push them apart, they chose to lean on each other. For every dark moment, there was a moment of light. For every unspoken fear, a deeper understanding. And then came the day that changed everything. October 27th, 2020, on his Oklahoma ranch. Inside a chapel he built with his own hands, Blake proposed in front of her kids. It wasn't a grand spectacle. It was intimate, sincere. A love letter in the form of a question. In that same chapel, they said "I do" in 2021, sealing a love story that began 6 years earlier on a reality TV set. Since then, Gwen has continued to shine. In 2022, her collaboration with Sean Paul, "Light My Fire," proved that she wasn't afraid to mix things up, to keep pushing her boundaries. At the Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, the world witnessed a full-circle moment. Blake's speech was deeply personal. He remembered the first time he saw Gwen, pulling up in a black minivan, 3 kids in tow. That moment wasn't glamorous. It was real. He spoke not just of her success in music, film, and fashion, but of her strength as a mother, her elegance in chaos, and her refusal to break under pressure. That speech wasn't just for her, it was for everyone who's ever had to rebuild. Gwen Stefani's financial and luxury lifestyle mirrors her transformative journey. Her estimated net worth surpasses $160 million, supported by a multi-decade music career and fashion ventures like Lamb. She's owned a fleet of luxury vehicles, including a Porsche Panamera, a Range Rover, and a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. Gwen's timepieces, particularly her Rolex Day-Date and Cartier Ballon Bleu, reflect timeless elegance. She's held real estate in Beverly Hills, Studio City, and a shared Oklahoma ranch with Shelton. Her business acumen includes perfume lines, fashion labels, and even beauty endorsements. Private aviation isn't foreign to her either. She's flown in Gulfstreams for tours. She's also known to have strong insurance backing, reportedly covering career risks, health contingencies, and valuable personal assets. Financially, Gwen's story teaches one core lesson: diversify, evolve, and never let a single chapter define your legacy. From ska punk pioneer to solo pop icon, from heartache to harmony, Gwen Stefani continues to defy expectations. Her journey reminds us that even in the glare of the spotlight, it's the quiet resilience behind the scenes that truly defines greatness. And there you have it. Blake Shelton finally stopped dodging the rumors and gave us the raw truth behind the headlines. From his emotional confessions to Gwen's unexpected reveal, this love story's had more twists than a country song. If you felt even one jaw-drop moment, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps way more than you think. Drop a comment with your favorite Blake and Gwen moment. And of course, don't forget to subscribe because we've got more behind-the-scenes bombshells coming your way soon. Next up, a surprising update from another voice coach that'll leave you speechless. Until then, just remember, Blake Shelton may sing about heartbreak, but his honesty? That's what really hit #1. See you in the next one.